There's a particular kind of fear that doesn't feel like fear. It feels like realism. It sounds like, this won't work. It's too late. It's too big. I'm not the type of person who can do that. And because it sounds rational, it quietly becomes a life sentence. Nelson Mandela's line cuts through that illusion. It always seems impossible until it's done. Not sometimes. Not if you're special. Always. This quote isn't a celebration of blind optimism. It's an observation about the human mind. We overestimate what the unknown will demand from us and underestimate what consistent movement will build inside us. Tonight, through a psychological lens, we'll unpack why impossible is such a convincing feeling, why it dissolves after completion, and what this teaches us about courage, endurance, and identity. Impossible is rarely a fact. Most of the time, it's a forecast made under stress. When the mind faces a large goal, it tries to protect you by calculating risk. But under uncertainty, the mind doesn't calculate. It guesses, and it guesses pessimistically, because pessimism feels safer than hope. So impossible becomes a shortcut label for three hidden experiences. First, a lack of clarity. You can't see the path. Second, a lack of evidence. You haven't seen yourself do it before. Third, a fear of exposure. If you attempt and fail, you'll feel shame. That's why impossible feels so final. It's not describing the task. It's describing your relationship to uncertainty. The second half of the sentence is the psychological punch. Until it's done. Completion is not just an outcome. Completion is evidence. And evidence rewires belief faster than motivation ever can. Before something is done, you only have imagination. And imagination under stress tends to create worst-case scenarios. After it's done, you have proof. And proof collapses the illusion of impossibility. This is why the mind changes its story so quickly after completion. Of course it was possible. Not because it was easy, but because the brain now has a reference point. In psychology, reference points shape identity. Once you have done something once, you become the kind of person who can do it again. When you label something impossible, you don't just describe reality. You shape behavior. Impossible reduces curiosity. It blocks experimentation. It shuts down the part of you that asks, what if I tried a smaller version? The mind prefers certainty, even negative certainty, over uncertain hope, because uncertain hope demands effort without guarantee. Negative certainty demands nothing. It gives you permission to stop. And this is the quiet tragedy. Many people don't fail because they tried and lost. They fail because they never built a relationship with trying. They built a relationship with protecting their self-image. So Mandela's quote functions like a mirror. If everything feels impossible, it may not be the world. It may be the strategy you're using to stay emotionally safe. A powerful part of completion is not external, it's internal, regulation. When something feels impossible, your nervous system often goes into threat mode. You interpret uncertainty as danger. You feel urgency, heaviness, and mental noise. But when something is done, the nervous system receives a signal. I survived. I handled it. The world didn't end. That signal reduces fear for the next attempt. Not because you become fearless, but because your body learns a new truth. Uncertainty can be lived through. This is why people who complete difficult things often look different afterward. Not because they gained arrogance, but because they gained embodied evidence. The feeling of impossibility usually peaks in the middle. At the beginning, you still have novelty and hope. At the end, you have momentum and a clear finish line. But in the middle, you have effort without applause. The middle is where the mind starts negotiating. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should quit. Maybe I chose the wrong path. And often the real problem isn't ability, it's endurance. Mandela's sentence is not about the instant, it's about the arc. It reminds you that perception is unreliable during unfinished work. Impossible is often not a diagnosis. It's a symptom of being mid-process. People often interpret impossible as a verdict on talent, but the quote points to something else: sequence. It seems impossible because the mind sees the whole mountain at once, but done is never built in one moment. Done is built in steps. The psychological trap is global thinking. If you can't see the full plan, you assume there is no plan. If you can't guarantee the outcome, you assume the effort is wasted. But human progress doesn't require certainty. It requires direction. Mandela's line is the reminder. The mind's inability to imagine the path is not evidence the path doesn't exist. It's evidence you are standing at the edge of what you haven't practiced yet. If you take this quote seriously, it changes how you interpret your emotions. You stop trusting the feeling of impossibility as a final verdict. You treat it as a phase, something that appears when you are early, uncertain, and unproven. And you begin to ask deeper questions. What part of this feels impossible because it's actually impossible? And what part feels impossible because I haven't accumulated evidence yet? This is the psychological turning point. You move from identity-based thinking, I can't, to process-based thinking, I'm not done yet. Not done yet is a radically different sentence. It doesn't deny difficulty. It simply refuses permanence. Let's hear the quote, one last time, not as inspiration, but as a psychological anchor. It always seems impossible until it's done. Meaning, your mind will exaggerate difficulty when you lack evidence. Your body will feel threatened when you can't see the full path. And the middle will try to convince you that quitting is wisdom. But completion changes the story because completion creates proof. And proof changes what you believe you are. So when you're in the hardest middle, you don't need a grand speech. You need a true sentence. Not, this is easy, but this feels impossible because it isn't done yet. If this met you at the right time, share it with someone who is in the middle of something hard. And if you want, leave a comment. What feels impossible right now because it's not done yet.